So joining me now is my friend, Tracey Wilson from the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights. Tracey, you've been in court for the past few days fighting with the government. Tell us exactly what's happening there right now.
Okay, so this is probably the largest federal court challenge in the history of the country for gun owners. And what's going on is back in May 2020, you'll remember the government decided on a whim, using the backdrop of the Nova Scotia shooting to ban over 1,500 models and variants of firearms, mostly semi-autos, the AR-15 included. So they did this through an OIC, an order in council, which for our American friends is similar to an executive order. It's basically avoids the entire parliamentary procedure. There's no democracy. There's no vote. It just happens, and that's it. So your only real recourse to this, well, there's two, to fight them in court, which we're doing, or an election, which we're trying for that as well. So there's 6 different parties that have sort of been lumped together under case management. The CCFR is sort of the big lead case. There's a couple smaller cases underneath, but all in all, we've all got the bases covered, and we are challenging the federal government's ability to use an OIC in this manner, challenging their decision that these guns are no longer suitable or reasonable for hunting and sporting purposes, which we've been using them safely and without issue for 60 years in this country or longer. I know for the first 5 days, everybody's been following my live tweets, which is great. Thank you for everyone watching those. It's really sort of difficult because I'm doing it in real time in the room. But I'm hoping that it gives some perspective from inside the courtroom. The problem with gun owners and conservatives is we all work. So I recognize people can't sit and watch the live stream. So, this is a way that they can read this when they get home and, see what happened during the day. So over the first 5 days, people have been commenting saying, it's going really well. I really appreciate this. These are great arguments. I feel like it's going in our favor. And then, of course, here we are on day 6. And it's like, hitting a brick wall because it's the first day that we're hearing from the government. So, of course, it seems like everything is going splendidly when we're only listening to our side, see a whole echo chamber thing. So today the government had an opportunity to respond tomorrow as well. They'll be taking most of the day tomorrow. And their idea is, of course, just to kind of rapid fire, try and, eliminate all of our arguments from all the various legal teams. So there's a whole bunch of disinformation, a whole bunch of sort of leading things to the judge. We were talking about people's inability to file a Section 74 challenge because of the way this was done, which is something that, the average person could probably do with a very limited amount of legal advice. And the Attorney General's lawyer comes back and says, well, they can't do that, but they can file a judicial review. That's like a 3 to 5 year court battle. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. They know full well Canadians aren't going to be able to do that. So it felt like a huge slap in the face when they said that today. And then one other little highlight I want to share was, it's funny, I often talk in interviews about the social contract that gun owners have made with the government. Here in Canada, we've got probably one of the strictest gun control regimes in the world. There's a whole bunch of, rules, regulations, and laws. And we follow them regardless of how ridiculous they are. And I feel like we've made a social contract with the government where we've said, okay, fine, we'll get the license, we'll go through the training, we'll store them carefully, we'll follow all those rules, we'll transport them carefully, we'll follow every single precaution and rule that's been set up over 30 or 40 years of gun control madness, but leave us alone. And Solomon Friedman, who's the lawyer in the Parker case, good friend of I think everybody on our side of the table, but really talented lawyer. And he made an argument the other day in his submissions where he called it the bargain that we've made. And it's the same idea, right? Social contract bargain, just different terms. And today the Attorney General's lawyer was almost appalled that we would even say that. And he stood in court and said, there is no bargain. There was no deal made with gun owners. I don't know where you're coming up with this. There's no deal for you. And it just sort of made me think, like, at this point, I try my best to be a really careful person and to obey the law and respect my country and respect authority. But just him saying that really changes the way I think about my relationship with the government. You know, I've done everything you've asked of me, and you just flat out said in court, it's not enough. There is no deal. It doesn't matter what you do. We're going to do whatever we want to you, and you're going to take it.
Oh, hey, what you just saw there is a clip from my weekly full-length show, The Gun Show. It airs on Wednesday, but this is the internet. You can watch it whenever you feel like. You just have to become a subscriber to our paywalled premium content. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com to become a member today.